Hi, I'm Paul Edwards, author of the Mourner's Woods books, and first and foremost, a monster kid. Tonight I'm watching Cobweb from 2023. Cobweb is not a great film, but it is a film that had great potential. I'm going to tell you the first 10 minutes or so of this film, and then we're going to stop right there and we'll see what directions this story could have taken, okay? Because I think it's a setup that could have gone a bunch of different ways. The story centers on a grade school boy who, when he lays in bed at night, hears thumping from within his bedroom wall. At first, it sounds just like the bumps and thumps that might happen if there were maybe mice or a rat living in the walls of the house. But he starts to suspect that the noises are a little more deliberate than that. And when he tries an experiment by knocking 3 times on the bedroom wall, 3 knocks respond. He's terrified. He reports this to his parents, and they insist that he either had a nightmare or just imagined the whole thing. The next day, we see a little bit of this boy's life here in town. He's ostracized in school. He's the target of bullies, and his parents seem overly controlling. The main example of which is that Halloween is coming up in a few days, and they refuse to let him go trick-or-treating. That seems overly strict, but the mother explains, well, recently, another child in the neighborhood, a little girl, disappeared. And so we're worried that if you go trick-or-treating, there's some maniac out there that might abduct you. So that's the reason that they're not letting him trick-or-treat. Why they couldn't just go with him trick-or-treating and solve the problem, I don't know. But that's the explanation they give. So the little boy continues to hear these noises behind his bedroom wall at night, and they sound deliberate to him. And at one point, to his stark terror, he hears his name whispered from within the wall. That's the first 10 or so minutes of this movie. As a writer myself, I can think of a number of different ways that this story could be taken. Okay. The most obvious one to me is that the abducted girl from the neighborhood is trapped behind these walls, and maybe one or both of the parents is a child napper and has kept this girl prisoner behind the wall, and she's trying to reach this boy for help. Another possibility is that not only are they child nappers who stole the girl, but the parents also have abducted this boy, and either he doesn't remember or maybe he was too young to know that he was himself an abductee and is living with these people, and that's why the parents are overly controlling of him. Another possibility is that these bullies that are bothering him at school, maybe they could be messing with him. Maybe they've got some way to get into the house at night and they're messing with him. That could be the way the story goes. But remember, the film is called Cobweb. So you're expecting there's going to be some sort of either a spider monster or something to do with spiders is going to appear here. So one possibility is that the thumping and the voice behind the wall is not coming from any human being at all. Maybe it's some kind of a monster or a demon. And it's, I can picture some sort of a huge spider-shaped monstrosity lurking back there that can speak in a human voice and, lure this kid to, some untoward end. That's a possible way the story could go. Another possibility is that these parents are the ones that are messing with him, trying to drive him crazy for some strange reason. There are a lot of different ways that this story could go. Another thing that occurred to me was that episode of The Simpsons where Bart Simpson keeps hearing noises coming from the attic, and it turns out that his long-lost twin brother is living in the attic and, gets loose and runs around like a maniac. So I couldn't help but think of that episode when I was watching the first few minutes of this. So this story could have gone any of a number of different ways. It almost would be interesting as a writing project to give someone this premise and see where they took it. But we know the film is called Cobweb, so there has to be something spider related that is involved here. I'm not 100% happy with the way that they wound up taking this story. But I will say that there were plenty of scares in it, especially in the first few minutes when you didn't have any idea where they were going with this, or what could be, who or what could be behind that wall. But there are still scares aplenty throughout the film, even when you see where they're going with it. I think there are too many moving parts in this story. I think there are too many plot elements at play. They could have thinned out the script a little and focused more on the main story instead of giving us some of these side stories. But it's not bad. It's just not a great film. It's not a film that's ever going to be anyone's favorite horror film or anything like that. But it's a serviceable midnight movie. It's worth seeing once, if only to satisfy yourself as to what the solution to this mystery could possibly be. And of course, you have to bear in mind the film is called Cobweb, so there has to be something spider-like, spider-ish, somewhere in the film. Now, if spider horror is your thing, have I got the book for you? My book, Mourner's Web, is one of my Mourner's Woods novels. In this novel, a well-meaning but misguided environmentalist wants to save the Jabba Fofi, legendary man-eating spiders of the Congolese jungle. She wants to save them from extinction by transporting them to a new habitat, America's most isolated wilderness, Mourner's Woods. Kate spends years collecting specimens of the Jabba Fofi to transplant to this new habitat, and she's released them into the wild to see how they will thrive here. Now she's returning to the forest to inspect the results, but her experiment has worked too well. Gigantic Jabba Fofi spiders have conquered Mourner's Woods, depleted native wildlife, destroyed nature's equilibrium, and now devour anyone who dares to enter into their wilderness. My book is Mourner's Web. It's available for sale on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. My name again is Paul Edwards. Thanks for letting me talk to you some about Cobweb. I'll see you in Mourner's Woods.